Bonnie, let's start off by talking about, in an up and down industry, really, Pioneer Natural Resources has remained relevant. Can you share any of that insight with us and talk a little bit about the forwardness of the company?
At Pioneer, we build our program based on strong corporate returns and generating free cash flow. We're able to do that, as you know, because we've got large contiguous acreage right in the core of the Midland Basin with a long inventory of highly repeatable and executable wells.
Thank you for sharing that part with us. Can you look back on your career and what actually motivated you to get into the oil and gas industry and what keeps you here?
So some of that had to do with geography. Graduated from Texas A&M and eventually, went to work in Houston. And by the time I was 30, I was living in Alaska, where I was part owner in a consulting business.
Wow.
Where we serviced many different upstream oil and gas companies. And that's how I came to know Pioneer Natural Resources and eventually joined their business and the upstream sector. A couple things keep me, I think, in the industry. Number one, it's very dynamic, and I am someone who welcomes and is exhilarated by change. And secondly, the people are amazing. Not only are they professional and ambitious, but they're salt of the earth, good people that I get to work with every day, all the way from the rig floor to the corporate headquarters.
It's good to hear there. Can you think about any challenges or were there risks that you took in your career? Maybe it didn't necessarily have to do with being a woman in the industry, or it did, but any of that you'd like to share with us?
So 8 years ago, I made the decision to leave the Alaska asset and come back to the corporate headquarters. And at the time, I knew that I was leaving a business environment that I was very comfortable and confident in. I was uprooting my family, and I was leaving a lifestyle that, quite honestly, I grew to love. But now that I look back on it, it was the best decision I ever made. I'm in the heart of the industry here in Texas, and I've been a part of the shale revolution over the last decade, and I wouldn't change any of that for the world.
And knowing what you know now, do you have any advice for younger professionals maybe trying to find their place in the industry?
I would say that in any job that you're in, learn as much as you can. And I know that sounds a little bit cliche, but it is so dynamic that learning as much as you can every day enables you to be ready for whatever changes come around to the next turn.
Bonnie, do you have any advice for us on work-life balance? Of course, often the million-dollar question there.
A couple strategies I like to use are, first of all, whatever I'm filling my time with, whether it be work or pleasure, I make sure that it's high on the satisfaction scale. And if it's not, I evaluate whether or not it's something that I should be filling my time with. And then secondly, I no longer look at work-life balance on a 24-hour basis. I do it on a calendar year, knowing that there are going to be intense weeks or days where things are going to be a little out of balance, but I make sure to also block equal numbers of quality days with vacation and enjoyable times, such that on a calendar basis, I've got good balance.
Can you talk to us about how you feel about mentors and the strength that they can provide for men or women in the industry?
Mentors in my life have been very influential, and the way they have affected me has not necessarily been with regards to advice, but there's two compliments that I will never forget. One of my mentors told me one day that he appreciated that I started each day with a sense of urgency. And what he meant by that was I was somebody who went and got stuff done. Mm-hmm. And another mentor of mine walked by my office and said, "Thank you for being the person that has a line of people outside your door waiting to talk to you." And what he meant by that is you're eager and you're helpful and people seek you out to solve problems.
Approachable, and that can go so far. Thank you for sharing that part with us. Can you talk to us a little bit about your feelings about being part of this 25 Influential Women in Energy group and how important a program such as this is for the industry?
I'm honored to be chosen alongside such amazing women in the industry. And when I look back on being in engineering school or early in my career, there weren't a lot of professional women shoulder to shoulder with me, and how that has changed in our industry is extremely rewarding and exciting to see.
Well, congratulations on this well-deserved honor, Bonnie, and thank you very much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And for Heart Energy, I'm Jessica Morales.